Fall came with a softness that Brian didn't realize what was in store. A hard-spined Northwoods winter until it was nearly too late. Page 5. Brian's Winter, written by Gary Paulson, is about a boy named Brian who was stuck in the wild after a plane crash. He needs to adapt to the wild in order to survive. He also needs to learn how to find shelter, food, and heat. During his time alone, Brian keeps improving his weapons and shelter. The weapons help bring down bigger game, and the shelter and the fire keep the animals away and Brian warm in the night. In my video, I will show you some ways on how to make fire and hunt and set overnight fish traps with the stuff that should come in an overnight survival pack. On page 12 of Brian's Winter, he says that one of the main things to do is to light a fire so you don't get hypothermia. First off, to light a fire, you need to go in your survival pack and find matches. Second off, you gotta go find some small sticks. So what you want to do, you want to take your matches, and I got paper, but dry leaves will work just the same. You want to crumple them up, a little ball, so you got quite a few of them down there. And before you start the fire, you want to make sure you have rocks around, just like we got right here, so you don't light everything else on fire. It kind of keeps the fire contained. Then you want to take your matches, get one piece of paper out right here, crumple it long ways, strike your match, and then light this paper on fire. It shouldn't go out like that. That's why you got a whole pack of matches in your survival thing. Make sure you get that thing good and lit. Not your hand. And you want to keep adding all these little leaves in there. Get everything all started. Once you get that paper good and going, you want to break these sticks up real small. Start setting them on there. You don't want to add too much or you'll smother the fire. Keep adding paper or leaves as you need. Once you get that going, the next thing is to find some bigger pieces of wood. When I get them set up, so it blocks the wind, and so the flame goes up into it. That's how you start a fire with your matches. Page 43 of Brian's Winter, he says, a good hunt is everything. So I'm going to show you guys how to get some food for the night. We're in luck today, we got a squirrel sitting out back on the feeder. First off, you guys want to be real quiet. You don't want to spook the game. On a survival pack, you only got a limited amount of bullets. So you want to make sure every shot counts. Alright, we got him. Alright, let's go grab this thing. Alright, first off you want to take the tail and save the tail. get you some money at MEPS right there. Alright? And what you want to do is you want to take your other knife. Usually you got 1 or 2 knives in your survival pack. And you want to slit them up the back. Once you get them slit up the back, you just grab them like this and just rip them apart. Take all your meat, guts out. That's how you're going to have dinner for the night. On page 68 of Brian Zinner, he says the best way to stay alive is to outsmart. Now in conclusion here, we learned a few things on how to stay alive out in the wild. One of them was to light a fire. To light a fire, you want to make sure you have a lot of dry stuff and a lot of small twigs to get started. You want to make sure you have a lot of rocks around the outside so you don't start nothing on fire. And if you're going to make a shelter, you want to make sure you put it up against the rocks so the heat bounces off and keeps you warmer. Another thing we learned is how to get food. For getting food, you want to be quiet so you can sneak up on your prey so they don't hear or see you. And you want to make sure that you save your ammo. It was a good book. And that is how to stay alive in the wild. Who's stuck in the wild after a plane crash. He needs to adapt to the winter in order. On page 58, in conclusion. On page 58 of Brian Zinner, it was things here on how to stay alive in the wild. One of them was starting a fire. For starting a fire, you want to make sure that you have a lot of dry stuff, a lot of little logs. And alive in the wild. Learn how to start a fire. Main things about starting a fire is you want to make sure you have a lot of little wood, a lot of dry. In conclusion, on page 68 of Brian Zinner, he says the best way to stay alive is to outsmart. In conclusion, in conclusion, on page 55 of Brian Zinner, in conclusion, on page 58 of Brian Zinner, he says.
Sorry. No, keep going.
What?
What?